Hello, I'd like to introduce the idea or talk a little bit more about the idea of removing obstacles rather than forcing through something onto something. So I'll explain a little bit more about it. What I mean by that is sometimes in our lives, or we try to tell someone else, or even in government, that happens everywhere when they try to advance. What we end up doing many times is try to force with some kind of an idea, or force someone to make something, for us or force ourselves to make something, even though there is some kind of a barrier. So that's the obstacles. There is obstacles, but we still try to force that thing forward. What we end up doing is we work really hard to force that something forward, even though a better strategy, a more efficient strategy, will be to remove obstacles rather than forcing it forward with the obstacles. So maybe first of all try to check what is stopping this from happening. There is like a good metaphor for that. If you have like a huge stone and you're trying to push that stone and it doesn't work, or at least it works but you don't really move a lot, maybe you should try to go around, see if there is some kind of obstacles that prevent you from pushing that stone forward. And we do that so many times. I do that so many times in my life too, and again, government. And it happens everywhere, even when you're trying to tell someone something. Try to make it better. So there is like where I heard it was a good example of that. So they try to make people use more soap, and they try to have a variety of way, or let's say writing those, like in every restroom there is this sign of saying employees must wash their hands and such, something similar to that. But it didn't work. What eventually they did, they put a scent into that soap, or a good scent, good smell of the soap, and that increased the use of soap by so much. I don't remember exactly the numbers, but more people use it. What we see here, there is like, you're trying to understand why people don't use the soap. Maybe there is bad smell for the soap. So try something else instead of like giving fines to people or writing down that you have to do it. You will waste so much more energy, money, and everything to enforce that law, which sometimes is very cheaply to check around, see what's going wrong. I think it's happening in our lives when we try to force ourselves to do something, but maybe there is something that's stopping us from doing that forward, or we try to tell someone to use soap. We want to tell our kids to use more soap. Just tell you have to use soap. You have to use soap. Maybe we should try to understand why they don't use soap, even though you have this reluctance sometimes to say, but why? That's the right way to do. We should advance this forward. That's the right way. We should do that. Or yeah, usually that's the idea. I just think that's the right way. But we need to understand sometimes we don't need to be right. We need to be smart. This is this idea. We're trying to solve the problem here. Unless we trying to just like be right. We can be the justice voice. But sometimes it just doesn't do the job. If we try to solve the problem, that's good. Sometimes you need to come with the idea of solving the problem rather than bullshitting around and saying, oh, but that's the right way. No one gives a fuck if that's the right way. If you try to solve the problem, yes, this is the right way. You can go afterwards and complain all about it, but again, that's the right way. And more realistic. This is being realistic. Again, sometimes it's good. I'm not saying it's not good to go the right way. Sometimes yes, go the right way. But sometimes if we're really trying to solve this problem and we get frustrated by not solving this with pushing forward, going back to the stone, maybe it's just better to give it or check around, see what's the obstacles. Sometimes you won't find any obstacles, but if we can find obstacles, that will be much better. So that's the idea right here. Thank you.